This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Happy Monday. Super excited to be with my brother from another mother, Dr. Jeffrey Fardink. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. Loving the new year. Happy to see what's coming down the line.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you as well. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Some folks are calling this the year of Jordan because of 23, which means we have to be explosive and really take it to the goal, right? And score this year. So I'm super excited. And I'm super excited about eye care shenanigans this evening because, as always, you have some amazing cases. And I love to just ask you questions about these cases and pick your brain, man. It's great to have, very smart people in your circle like yourself, my friend.
Well, I'm happy that you think I'm a person like that. I'm glad I've pulled the wool over your eyes so far.
So what's up, man? How's your week been so far? It's top of the week. It's Monday. I see you look like you're growing a beard there, my friend. Has it been a long Monday already?
It had. Well, I like yours so much. I figured it might compliment me as well as it's complimenting you. So we'll see. I don't have quite as nice contrast here with my pasty skin and my blonde beard here. But.
Hey, you look amazing, my friend. You look amazing, my friend. But hey, I'm kind of jealous of you because at least you can grow hair on your head. I can just grow it on my face, my
for
eyebrows.
Now, there's less than there used to be. It's there for now.
Well, let's jump into it,
Michael, man. Yeah. Speaking of Michael Jordan, I always think of his teammate Horace Grant back from my NBA Jam days with those sweet rec specs he wore in the NBA.
Oh, man, NBA Jam was my joint back in the day, man. We're starting to age ourselves. You know, there's a lot of younger millennial docs out there. They probably don't even know what NBA Jam is. It's some seasoned docs that are probably like, I have no clue what these guys are talking about. But I know one thing. I was nice, man. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll happily introduce the younger docs to Boom Shakalaka if they got the time for it.
Classic. All right, my man. So for those that have never tuned into eye care shenanigans, myself and Jeff, we like to just have fun. We like to talk about what's the latest and greatest in eye care news. And today we have about 5 topics that we're going to shoot through. And these topics that we discuss, it's actually very entertaining, but also very educational because it brings a lot of value. That way you can be prepared for whatever comes into that exam lane. Because believe it or not, your patients come into the office and they're highly educated and they want to have answers. So today we're here to bring you answers, bring you news, bring you entertainment, but most importantly, bring it in a digestible form that can really resonate with you. So you ready to get started, my man?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's start off, man. So the first one up, seeing the big picture with narrow angles. Wow.
Yeah, this one really caught me by surprise. I subscribed to the journal Eye from our good friends over there at Nature in the UK.
Yeah.
And it started off with an editorial from the Royal College of Ophthalmologists about angle closure glaucoma, balancing risk and benefit. So the big takeaway from this editorial is basically that laser peripheral iridotomy is not really as effective at prophylaxis for primary angle closure glaucoma as we believe. Performing a laser peripheral iridotomy for prophylaxis is kind of the standard of care for patients with narrow angles, but it's not much evidence backing it up. There was a huge study done in China recently, which I love the acronym here. It's the Zhongshan Angle Closure Prophylaxis Study, or ZAP.
Right.
Great name. And it's done on a very high risk population for developing angle closure glaucoma. It's East Asian patients over the age of 50. Thousands of patients were enrolled in this study, half receiving peripheral laser iridotomy and half not receiving it. And over the course of the 3-year follow-up period, there were no cases of primary angle closure glaucoma in either group, which was very surprising to the authors, so much so they actually extended it for another 3 years. And over the course of that 6-year period, there was some primary angle closure glaucoma coming up. 30 untreated eyes developed primary angle closure. There are only 6 cases. Well, let me back this up. There was primary angle closure over the course of this period here. But now there were LPI seemed to have the risk of primary angle closure defined as developing peripheral anterior synechia. 30 patients that were not treated developed peripheral anterior synechia, and 15 patients that were treated developed peripheral anterior synechia. And that's kind of their defining criteria for what they're calling primary angle closure, not angle closure glaucoma, but primary angle closure. And 6 patients over the course of the 6 years had acute angle closure attacks, 5 untreated and 1 treated. And the editorial authors here in the UK extrapolate that to a broader patient base of not just East Asians, but of a more diverse patient base that we might see in the UK or in America, as maybe 3 cases of glaucomatous visual field loss are prevented for every 1,000 prophylactic LPIs performed. So that's surprising that there's that little impact.
Yeah, very much. So let me ask you this, man, because folks like to listen to this and they like to be educated, but what are you going to do with your in practice now? How is this changing anything that you do when you have those hyperopes that come in?
Yeah.
Elevated pressures. What are you going to do now moving forward after reading this article?
What I'm going to do is feel like a better doctor and less guilty, because I felt in the past like I'm a little too conservative with referring patients out for LPI. So now I can feel more self-assured that might be the okay plan. They suggest some new criteria, and I plan on following these. So the criteria that they're recommending for referring patients is if the patients have an limbal chamber depth grade of less than 25%, so that's a von Herrick 1. Or if there's an anterior segment OCT showing iridotrabecular contact. So one of those criteria, and then also one of a handful of other criteria, like they're hyperopes over 6 diopters, or they're from a vulnerable patient group. So they do recommend some referral criteria here still, just it's a lot more selective of a group of patients than just a von Herrick 1.
Gotcha. So everyone step your game up, take your notes, make sure you hit the ground running and know what to look for here. Very interesting, man. The data really surprised me as well. After you sent me the article and I was reviewing through it, the one thing that I did like about the article was how they were just really looking at the overall cost factor.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a big piece that we never think about when it comes to LPIs, right? What's the cost for us extracting a cataract or the lens out the eye, and just looking at the overall picture of drops and everything else. So it's good that they're looking at this holistically instead of just with one lens.
Yeah, it's a very interesting perspective, because in the UK, they've got that national health system, nationalized healthcare, and the system's very strained ever since COVID started. And they're just looking at ways to be the most efficacious with the resources they have.
Right. Love it. So up next, man, we got this amazing topic, back to the phoropter. And if you guys are watching, you can see the background. It's 2 handsome young men sitting by that beautiful vehicle. And it's looking like Back to the Future. I mean, talk to us about this image and talk to us about this amazing topic as well.
Well, it's another very timely reference, like NBA Jam, movies I love. But welcome to Back to the Phoropter, where we get you in on the action in the science of refraction. We're going to try to focus on some new topics in refraction. So the article today, corneal topography and tomography readings with mask wear during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our friends down at Bascom Palmer Eye Hospital in Florida were having trouble getting corneal topography readings on patients wearing masks, and found that if they removed the masks or readjusted them, they could get better readings. And the interesting thing they discovered doing these pre-mask and post-mask removal topographies was that the axis of astigmatism in these patients varies greatly when they're wearing masks. So let's see here, 53% of the patients had a greater than 10-degree shift in their axis of astigmatism wearing a mask compared to not wearing, and 40% had a greater than 15-degree change in the axis of astigmatism wearing a mask and not wearing it. This was very surprising to me too. Refracting patients in masks had enough challenges. Now I'm finding out it's likely to cause spec rechecks too.
Yeah, and I think that's a great call out right there. How many rechecks are we getting? Have you seen an increase since COVID has hit, or are you pretty much where you've been? That's why it's important to really master the art of refracting, right? You got to factor in all pieces, and this little piece of information here can really help save you a lot of chair time, but save the patient a lot of headache as well. 10 degrees, man, that's a lot. I mean, think about, if you have a patient that has a decent amount of astigmatism, that's game changing. That's a nightmare. And if they're eating that up in a chair, but when you give them the glasses and they don't take it, they're going to be upset. And we all know at the end of the day, let's keep it real, Jeff. Let's keep it real, my friend. You can find a retinal hole, a retinal detachment, tell the patient they got glaucoma, a melanoma, but if you don't get their glasses right, they're going to be mad as hell and not care about anything else. So it's very important to always make sure that you take time with that refraction, explain that refraction, and understand what you're prescribing. You got to look at everything. I mean, from what that person does for a living, their age, if they have longer arms, they're taller, shorter, lifestyle. There's so many different pieces that you have to look at with that refraction, but you also got to stay abreast of the latest news on eye care shenanigans to know that astigmatism can be induced by 10 degrees with that mask. So very important to stay on top of that stuff, man.
I couldn't agree more, Darryl. Refraction, I think, is the most important service that we offer our patients. It's one of the reasons that most of them are coming to see us. So you got to stay on top of these things. Make sure you're doing the best you can every time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And let's keep it moving when it comes to refractive services. This one really blew my mind, man. The next topic is contemplating legislation. If you don't mind breaking that down a little bit more, because this is something that's going to really, blow the mind of optometrists and ophthalmologists. I didn't realize that there was a lot of things cooking up over the last 15 years. So if you don't mind breaking down this topic here.
No, a friend sent this article to me out of the New York Times. LASIK patients should be warned of complications, FDA draft says. And I was reading it with a sense of schadenfreude, where you're seeing other people suffering, because I feel like optometrists get so much of this stuff. And it's nice to see ophthalmology getting some of this guff here too. But basically the FDA is contemplating a draft saying that patients should be warned of the complications from LASIK surgery, including double vision, dry eyes, difficulty driving at night, and in rare cases, persistent eye pain. This is really picking up steam. I think it's kind of overblown. I mean, when I do LASIK co-management, and certainly I warn all of my patients about these things. And if a patient has dry eyes, or I think they're going to be a bad candidate for lifestyle, like we were just talking about, for any number of reasons, I'll be sure to tell them about that. So I think it's important that patients are aware of these things, but if it's some lengthy documentation process that they want to implement, I think that's pretty much overkill in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I remember it was like 15 years they've been working on this, or 15 pages, 20-something pages long. And I'm like, man, how much, what kind of information are they putting in there? I mean, that's mind blowing, right? And it seems that the ophthalmologists were pretty upset because they were focusing more on all the negative things, and they didn't lead with anything good and all the great results and the quality of life that LASIK actually brings to patients. And to your point earlier, as optometrists, we're not going to refer a patient if they already have dry eyes, or if they have corneal irregularities or something of that nature. So it's like, as a team, we can work together and make this really happen. But we also got to keep in mind, and we got to practice everything. We got to think about those patients that have had, bad experience, right? I mean, in that article, there was a couple of patients talking about their experience, and they've been waiting for something like this to come around because they want everyone to know what they experienced. And at the end of the day, we got to keep it real, man. Not every surgery, not every procedure is going to be perfect.
Right. Absolutely not. Yeah. LASIK has a great track record, but there are patients who, of course, have not had good outcomes. And that's why one of the reasons I fit sclerals. I can help them with that way.
Well, I remember a while back, man, maybe it was, I can't even remember how many years ago. Maybe it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But there was that one topic where folks were getting some type of refractive procedure and they were committing suicide. They were trying to connect the dots between the two. And I don't know how far that went, or if that procedure is still being, or that technique is still being practiced, but it kind of lost wind. I haven't heard about that. Have you?
The one patient I'm thinking of, I know she was a newscaster or maybe a weather person. I think she just had regular LASIK. I'm going to look into that because I'm really interested in the different corneal neuropathies and this neuropathic nerve pain that's kind of becoming more of a popular topic, because I'll see some patients that come in for a scleral fitting, and maybe 1 out of 10 of them put the scleral on and their pain is much worse, which is so not expected. And it's the strange neurogenic nerve pain phenomenon that's related to that. So maybe next month, spoilers for next month. I'll see if I can find a topic article.
So does this change anything with how you prescribe from the chair or how you educate your patients? Or is it pretty much just keeping it the same and pushing forward?
It just reinforces the role of primary eye care optometry in educating our patients. All the patients who ask about LASIK or patients who are a good candidate, just make sure you educate them. And that's one of the most important jobs we have.
Yeah, and I think education is king, right? And this is a great opportunity for us to really build that bridge and continue to build that bridge with our ophthalmologist counterparts, right?
Yeah.
We know this can hurt their business, right?
That's
we know
right.
It can hurt their practice. And if we can work with them and partner with them to educate about the pros and the cons and cover all that stuff in that 15 to 25 page document in a more digestible manner, I think they would really love us, but also the patient will feel more secure as well.
Yeah, it goes back to something I mentioned in another podcast. We can educate, medicate, and operate. I bring that up, by the way, because I had a recruiter reach out to me about a corporate job, and I was like, I'm not gonna respond. I got a lot on my plate end of the year. And then he writes back again and says, "Hey, I loved you on the podcast. Educate, medicate, operate. It's great." And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to this guy now. So people are out there watching.
You'll be amazed how many people reach out to you when you podcast. I have so many people come into my office just saying, "Oh yeah, I know Dr. Glover," and they're like, "My friend that's like, how do you know him?" And they're like, him and I, we've done work together, and all they've done is just see me on a podcast." And I love all my reps out there. I think reps are very key in pushing the practice forward because they bring a lot of knowledge. They have all the answers. They know what's going on with the practices that are surrounding you as well.
Very important.
I'm a firm believer that you need to make all your representatives out there your best friends because they can really change the game for you and elevate your practice.
Could not agree more. Reps are our best friends. Don't forget.
It looks like Dr. Dorothy is here. She's saying, put that praise in the comments, man. So she loves that, man. Let's say it one more time.
Yeah, that's Dr. Sweet. We educate, medicate, and operate. That's all we can do. So don't forget that first one.
There you go. Talk that talk, my friend. So let's switch it up, man. Let's take it to the next topic. Aspheric spectacle lenslets.
All right.
I hope I said that right. That's a mouthful, man.
It's a mouthful and it's an eyeful when you look at some of these lens designs. So I just wanted to talk about these myopia control glasses that are out there, using the same concepts as the contact lenses, peripheral defocus, and the study we're talking about today involves the lenses that have the let me see here, the defocus incorporated multiple segments, no relation to defocus media, sadly.
We were ahead of our time, man. We were ahead of our time.
I know, right? I believe this is Hoya's lens design. But basically, there are several different designs of these that are commercially available. Essilor's got one. Zeiss has one. Hoya has one that was used in this study. And they just incorporate these little aspheric lenslets to create peripheral blur in the side of the glasses lens. The results here are just indicating that these are effective at preventing at myopia control. So they followed the study for 2-3 years here, and there was a difference of about a diopter of myopia control prevented in the spectacle, the DIMS group, the myopia spectacle group. So I was reading this, and it's talking about the hyperopic relative peripheral refraction being more hyperopic in the control group, the non-lens group. And I was really confused about that hyperopic. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Don Moody, one of my professors at Ohio State. I actually called him on the phone, asked him this really complicated question. He gave a great answer. And they said, "Wait, who am I talking to?" At the end. Just a great guy willing to give an answer. But basically, that's just talking about how in myopia, axial length is increasing. As the axial length is increasing, the length of the peripheral retina isn't increasing as fast. So overall, as myopia is progressing, the peripheral retina is relatively hyperopic compared to the macula, basically, as it's not elongating as much. So that's why you're seeing this increase in hyperopic refractive error in the periphery in the myopia group.
There you go. My man got all the answers here. I'm loving it, Jeff, man. Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited about this, right? For me, I'm one of those guys that I prescribe contacts, right? I don't do specialty lens. If a soft lens doesn't fix it, I'm referring them to one of my colleagues that is a master in this, right? I'm a firm believer that I don't have to have all the answers, but I can surround myself with great colleagues that can take that lead if need be. But when it comes to frames and lenses for eyewear, I'm your man. And when it comes to myopia, we know there's a true epidemic out there and we got to do a better job. So I really like this as a resource, another tool in the tool belt to be able to talk to patients, but most importantly, a tool that patients are familiar with, right?
Yeah.
Say that it's a lens that you put in a pair of glasses, that's not as difficult as, telling someone that this technique may not be FDA approved, right? Or if they don't want their children to wear contact lens with an FDA approval lens like my sight, you got something that you can rely on. So I think this is really going to change the game when it comes to myopia. I believe some of these lens technologies are already FDA approved in like Canada and some other places, and they've been doing extremely well. So I cannot wait for it to hit the States because I'm going all in for it, my friend.
I agree. And it's anytime we can offer a service to our patients, that's great for their health, and also a practice growth opportunity to get more spectacle lens sales in the office with these lenses. I think that's great.
Amen.
The products that are available now, not necessarily in the US, there's the Hoya MyoSmart, the Zeiss MyoVision, and the Essilor Stellest, I believe, are the three main ones.
Yeah. And I think Cooper Vision has something coming out as well, or maybe they have a collaboration with one of those companies that you mentioned.
Yes,
might be Essilor.
Yeah, I believe they do. I'm not sure which, but I think I was reading that earlier.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. We're going to see probably a lot of these lens technologies come out at the same time. But again, I'm super excited that we have another resource for patients to help slow down the progression of myopia, because it's a major issue. I mean, we see it every day in our offices, and now it's just going to make doctors feel more comfortable for those that were uncomfortable to be able to provide a solution. I got a question for you, man.
Yes, sir.
These lenses, man, they're not the most attractive looking thing, my friend. So
they are not.
what are your thoughts in regards to the demographic that's going to wear these lenses, right? I mean, think about kids. If they go to school and they have all these different things on the lens, I mean, is that going to be something that's going to mess with their confidence? Or is it going to be so many students wearing this that it's going to be a norm? I mean, we have to start thinking about these things as well, because we live in a world of social media.
Absolutely.
These students live on social media, and how are they going to be impacted from, just being in and being cool and a cosmetic standpoint as well? I mean, what are your thoughts?
It's a real concern. I mean, a lot of my presbyopic patients don't want to have one lenslet as a segmented bifocal in their glasses. So yeah, these lenses, they do look strange. And I'm one of the reasons I'm looking forward to working more with them is to see, how much of an issue it is, because it's going to be obvious that kids are wearing these. And, I think that it will be an issue sometimes for confidence and so forth. So we'll just have to wait and see how much of an issue it is.
I wonder if this would change the game down the road with line bifocals or trifocals, being that they're used to seeing these lenslets that they'll start thinking, okay, this is cool, I can do a trifocal. I don't need the progressive. I mean, I wonder how that's going to influence their behavior moving forward.
Well, I'll tell you, I've got a few presbyopic patients that I want to give this lens to, because I'll have, like, there used to be, sometimes you fit the occupational progressive lens with the two reading segments on the bottom and the top for the mechanic who's looking up at the cars, that are on the lift ahead of them. So, I mean, I could see that.
Still get those, man? I've been trying to get those for a while. That's pretty nice.
The last time the fanciest pair of glasses I ever made, it was for a guy who wore monovision contact lenses. So the glasses took the monovision out, and then he had a reading seg up here so he could sight his pistol target when he was shooting at the range. Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, I have had the lab put in the line bifocal upside down for me recently, but that's about it.
Oh, wow. I never even thought about that. I mean, that's thinking outside of the box, and that's what patients like. They want someone that can really find a solution to their problems. And that's, again, thinking outside of the box. I love it. I always remember seeing back in the day, the pilot bifocal, right? You got the line up top, and on the bottom, in the middle, they could see everything. But I haven't been able to access that lens in who knows how long. I didn't even know those things were still around. I guess I got to step my game up when it comes to a lab.
It's going the way of the executive lens. It's getting harder to find, but it does serve a purpose when you can find it.
Yeah, but curious to know what this lens is going to do. Curious to know the price point of this lens. Curious to know how kids are going to accept this lens. And curious to know how parents are going to accept this lens, because it's not just the students and the kids that are going to give some kickback. The parents don't want their kids going to school to get picked on. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I like to always think about the big picture before we start prescribing these solutions. So all the lens manufacturers out there, I invite you to have a conversation with myself and Jeff. Let's bring you on and talk about how we can navigate these waters and these terrains. That way we can be prepared when the lens comes to the States. We invite all of you.
maybe it's even an opportunity for a second pair sale, because maybe they can wear the normal pair to school and take it off for this pair when they get home. Probably less of a treatment effect, but still it would be effective, I imagine.
Okay, yeah. See, we need the data. How many hours a day must they wear it? Is it similar to what we do with atropine and Ortho K and soft contact lenses? So we need more data, but we'll get it. We will get it for you. Eye Care Shenanigans is on the job, right?
We're looking for it. We'll find it.
All right, my friend. Let's end it on this one, man. Speaking it into existence. Now, I'm a big fan of speaking success into existence. But this one's a little different here, my friend. If you don't mind breaking down this article and an overview of it as well.
Sure. A nice quick one here. So 100 daily disposable soft contact lens wearers answered a questionnaire. And the questions involved, how likely do you think you are to have an adverse event with contact lenses? How likely are you to find that there's benefit to wearing your contact lenses as described? And do you perceive that you have barriers in your way to following the rules that your doctor gives you? And the patients who abused their lenses, they would sleep in them, or they would reuse their daily disposables for a second day or third day, were more likely to think that they were at risk for an adverse event, which is true. Right. But they also believed that there was less benefit they were less likely to believe that there was benefit to following the rules. And those patients who abused the lenses also perceived that they had more barriers to being able to follow the rules successfully. So not a surprise that they think they're at risk for the issues, but it is surprising to think they have these barriers and that there's no benefit. That's just another an opportunity to educate our patients about the upside to doing as we educate, as we instruct.
Isn't it crazy how education just really solves all the problems in the exam lane? I mean, it really takes it to the next level for the patient and makes the patient have everything that they need to be successful. Education. I can't stress it enough, man.
Yeah, and it's another reason why it's great to really take the time to educate your staff, so that hopefully they can pick up the ball for you and take some more time to drill home some of the lessons that you're teaching. Because as we get really pressured on how much time we can spend with our patients, it's great to find some opportunities for our staff to help us out in this field as well.
Absolutely. So, hey, man, this has been fantastic. You really dropped some gems on us Today, we learned about the new lens out that's for eyewear to help slow down the progression of nearsightedness. We learned about astigmatism. If folks are wearing a mask, it can induce up to about 10 degrees of astigmatism. I think about 50% of those patients. We learned about our colleagues, our ophthalmology colleagues that are going through it right now with the 15 to 20 something page document that is going to set fire in regards to refractive surgery, LASIK procedures. So they need to partner with us, and we need to partner with them to make it easier and educate the patients that this is an okay procedure. It's been done for how long, how many moons, how many decades, that you're in great hands. And the angles, huge, man, game changing. I guess you can be a little more conservative, right?
That's right.
But make sure you feel comfortable with what you're doing behind that slit lamp and in that exam lane. And then lastly, contact lens wearers. I mean, you just said it. You just broke it down. We just got to stay on top of that. But it's been fantastic. Any last advice when it comes to refractive care for our colleagues out there? Anything that you want to share with them that they can go home with and implement tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of advice for refraction, I think my tips to success there are, don't be afraid to prescribe the change that you're seeing in the refraction. You don't want to just keep prescribing the same thing over and over again. But at the same time, it's really useful to be aware of what your patients have been wearing, what they're comfortable with on their eyes. So you really want to balance change with what they're comfortable with.
I love it. And just to add on to that, every quarter diopter makes a difference. If they're taking it, give it to them. But also, to your point, make sure they feel comfortable with it. And the best way to make sure they feel comfortable with it, man, I might be young, but I'm old school. I bring out that trial lens frame, and I show it to my patients. I let them walk around the office. And not only is it a good social media moment, but it's a good reality check that, hey, this prescription is on point. This prescription is right. And it makes patients feel more comfortable when they go to the optical floor. Even if it's just that quarter change, they can see that difference and they appreciate it. Even something as simple as holding a loose lens in front of their current glasses, if it's a quarter shift, Patients can appreciate that. And in today's society, patients always want the edge. So give them that quarter change. Don't tell them there's really no change. You're doing your patients a disservice.
I completely agree. I got my trial lens kit out, probably every other patient.
I love it, my man. Well, hey, guys, it's Eye Care Shenanigans. It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover, and
Dr. Jeff Fardink.
Well, stay tuned. We're going to lock and load this time next month. We'll have some more hot topics and hot cases. If there's anything that you see out there, feel free to shoot an email to us. Shoot it to defocusmedia@gmail.com. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And until next time, stay healthy, stay positive, and stay blessed. Peace.
Have a good one.
All right, colleagues, and it's a wrap. Thank you dearly for hanging out with the Defocus Media team. We hope truly something resonated with you. And if it did, be sure to give us 5 stars. And make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, you named it. And our handle is at Defocus Media on all platforms. And